Before we get into today's video, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Prepper's Peak Portable Solar Power Bank. Basically, guys, what you got here is a beefy battery bank that can be powered by the sun and through a regular wall outlet. It has a built-in LED flashlight and SOS strobe light features that can be seen far away, a high battery capacity of 20,000 milliamp hours, wireless charging that automatically recognizes most devices, and it has a bi-directional fast charging Type-C port, USB port, and a USB QC 3.0 fast charging output port, which can charge 3 devices at the same time. Do yourself a favor and grab a couple for your bug out bag and grab a couple for your friends for the holidays. The link is in the description. Is anybody aware of the existence of the Federal Reserve, the IMF, the IRS? Does anybody wonder why Trump signed a $6.2 trillion banker/corporate bailout and burdened our posterity with mountains and mountains of multi and transgenerational debt slavery? The borrower is always going to be the servant to the lender. A person who's going to put you under the thumb of the Federal Reserve is not your friend. He's your enemy. And don't you Biden people, take a quick sigh of relief, because Biden would do the same thing. And he's calling for the same thing. We need more stimulus. Guys, it's not stimulus. It's inflation. We need more inflation. When people are calling for stimulus, they're calling for the destruction of the American dollar. They're calling for the economy to completely grind to a halt. They're calling for the strengthening of Zionist international bankers so they can get their necks even more firmly around their neck than they already have it, and my neck. Guys, when you sign a 6.2, let me just break it down for you like this before we move along. When you sign a $6.2 trillion stimulus package, what you're actually doing is not just tightening the chains of the oppressor and the chains around your neck. What you're actually doing is stealing the time and laboring energies of every single American who holds dollars that worked. Those dollars represent your time and your laboring energy. And when they are diminished, every time they launch a stimulus, and I understand we're in a catch-22. If people don't get that $1,200, that $2,400, that $600 a week, they're not going to be able to pay their bills. But we got to stop kicking the can down the road. What's going to happen is we're going to keep printing all this money. The dollar is going to crash. They're going to come up with the Great Reset, which includes the economic reset, as you see right here. This includes the economic reset, the systemic reset, the currency reset. They're going to give you the global digital reserve currency. And now all your freedoms are gone because now you can't make anonymous purchases. Now they're going to trace you and track you through their digital dollar everywhere you go. Who did you buy from? Who sold to you? When did you do it? What did you buy? Anonymity gone. That's the trade-off. But I got to have the $1,200 now. I know that's the pigeonhole they just stuffed us into. I understand you need the $1,200 now. I understand you need the $600 a week. But what you don't understand is if you take it, you're basically accepting the chains of your own oppression. It's just like when you go and you pull that lever and you push that button for your slave master, you're basically saying, I want my ruler to rule over you against your will and without your consent. And that is completely antithetical to liberty. Don't ever go to a sports game going, oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave, because it's not. It's not the land of the free. It's not the home of the brave. It's the land of the fee, and it's the home of the slave, but it's not land of the free, home of the brave. It hasn't been for a long time, at least for 107 years, because Amschel Rothschild said, give me control over a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. You want to get to the root cause and problem of not only this country, but countries around the world who are controlled by the Federal Reserve? Lop off the Hydra head of the Federal Reserve, of the IMF, of the IRS. You want to know who's on your side? If that president gets rid of the IRS, good chance he's on your side. If he gets rid of the Federal Reserve and institutes sound money that international bankers can't corrupt and can't manipulate, then you probably got a friend on your side. But that's not going to happen. We haven't seen it yet, and I don't hope to see it. I'm not going to hold my breath. Let's watch the rest of this right here. I know a lot of people get great courage out of that because people follow Trump, but you don't understand. He's just as much of a puppet as Joe Biden is. I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever heard of Juice Media, but they do a fantastic job exposing the deceptions in this world. And this right here is called Honest Government Ads. Listen to them as they expose the psychological operation called QAnon.
Hello, I'm from the U.S. government. Does something feel wrong in the world, but you can't put your finger on it? Are you yearning to fight injustice and be part of something bigger? Do you do your own research? If so, you've been chosen to participate in our new PSYOP, QAnon.
And keep in mind, I got to stop this because I can't play too many bits of this without getting some kind of strike. And I don't want to take away any of their thunder right here. If you want to go, it's called the Juice Media. If you want to watch this thing in its entirety. The reason Q is a psychological operation, first of all, what is a psychological operation? Psychological operation is where the social engineers who represent the ruling class, and there truly is a ruling class. I mean, George Carlin wasn't lying about that. Yeah, what he said was funny, but there is truly a ruling class, and they desire and intend to rule over us. The ruling class rules over the political class, which rules over the enforcement class, and we're all the little peons that are meant to be, you know, the tax cattle that they siphon from. So a psychological operation is when the social engineers, by the direction of the ruling class, get into your mind, the control panel of the mind. They start pushing buttons and pulling levers, and they try to, they don't try. Those people who submit to this kind of thing, who are weak-willed, who are happy to shelf their critical thinking, it's kind of like a big Stanley Milgram project, only on a global scale. So then this psychological operation, the social engineers get into your mind, they rewire how you think, and according to how you think, that's how you conduct your actions. That's where your behaviors come from. Your behaviors come from your thoughts, and if your thoughts are messed with and rewired by the psychological engineers, that's what a PSYOP is. A PSYOP is intended to change how you look at the world.
PSYOPs are
And Q is no exception. That Q is one of the biggest government psyops. Very, very clever. Very clever.
usually carried out by our intelligence agencies in countries we've invaded or whose governments we've overthrown, in order to convince the local population that we're there to help them. QAnon is just like that, except the target isn't a foreign population. It's you. And the government we're planning to overthrow is...
Yep, you are the target. And what's sad is there's a whole lot of YouTube channels that a lot of people like, and I personally like those people, you know? I'm not going to call them out right here. You know, I've talked about them before, but I think they mean well. I think they're sincere, but they are sincerely wrong. And they've stepped into the news of one of the biggest CIA psychological operations, certainly one of the most clever in recent memory, according to my research.
Follow the White Rabbit. At the heart of this PSYOP is Q, a government insider who will give you advance warning about major events, like the arrest of Hillary and deep state leaders, which never happened, and the end of the Democratic...
Yep, exactly. Let me see if they put the right... Yeah, here we go. This is an actual Q release. It says dated October 28th, 2017. We're coming up on 3 years now. It says Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 7:45 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the morning on October 30th, 2017. That's almost 3 years ago, guys. We're coming up on 3 years. That's just all you need to know about Q. To realize that it's a lie. This was a definitive statement, and it didn't happen. And guys, it's not going to happen. The reason Hillary Clinton is not going to see 1 day of jail time is because she's working together and in concert with the Donald Trumps and the Joe Bidens and all the shady underlings. There's no deep state, guys. There's just the state and the people. That's it. The state will forever be against the people, and the people who know what freedom is will forever be against the deep state. It's like Bastiat said, the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. And the only way the state can survive is through your ignorance and my ignorance. And those who desire to be ignorant and free desire what never was and what never shall be. You can't stay ignorant to this kind of stuff and expect to not see shackles somewhere in your future, or a FEMA camp somewhere in your future, or getting loaded onto the boxcars somewhere in the future. And inevitably, historically, it leads to your demise. And if we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. The sad part about history and the fact about history is that we don't learn from history.
and deep state leaders, which never happened, and the end of the Democratic Party in 2018, who actually went on to win the House that year. And if years of fake predictions start to get you down, don't worry. Trust the plan.
Yep, years of fake predictions. I want everybody who is sympathetic to the Q crowd to really understand that you have been had. And that's the dangerous thing. Trust the plan means there are good guys in government who are going to weed out the bad guys in government. You just got to sit still and wait, because King Donald Trump is going to make sure all the bad guys go away, as he does worse things than Obama ever did. If Obama signed a $6.2 trillion stimulus bill, guys, everybody was gasping at a $700 billion TARP bailout. 6.2 trillion. It was only supposed to be 2.2 trillion, by the way. They added on at the last minute, some out of nowhere, an extra $4 trillion. And I know I've said this before time and time again, but it really bears repeating, because you have to understand the enormity of the sum of $1 trillion. If you received $1 for every second you were alive, you'd receive $86,400 every single day, or about $31.5 million a year. How long would you have to live before you collected your first $1 trillion? Anybody? 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 Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Anybody? You would have to live for 31,709 years to collect your first $1 trillion if you earned $1 every second you were alive. You'd have to be 31,709 years old. On your 31,709th year on this earth, you would receive your first $1 trillion. And he just easily signed $6.2 trillion of our money, our time, our laboring energies away to the Zionist international banking cartel and everybody who created that corporate debt bubble that had to be taken care of. The reason he had to do that, and the reason they had to bring the Cerveza bug online, is because the corporate debt bubble was about to pop, and they can't have that happen without bringing some fall guy in the way so that they can blame everything on the Cerveza bug. Oh, well, the reason this happened, the reason we had a slide and a dip in the stock market was because Cerveza bug. Otherwise, we would have just kept going up and up and up. Guys, one day that bubble's going to pop, and it will not be able to survive. You can only throw so much debt at it. So a lot of people think the Federal Reserve creates money. They don't. They can't. You can't create money. Money has real value, real money. They create currency, and that currency is notes of debt. There's no backing. There's no time and laboring energy that went into it. There's no thought process. There's no intellectual fortitude that actually went into it. It's just, hey, let's print the money. In this day and age of high technology, they don't even have to print it anymore. They just put zeros and ones in people's bank accounts, and everybody calls it good. They call it money. It's not. It's not.
The best part of this PSYOP is you'll believe you're in a PSYOP, except that's not the PSYOP you're actually in, but the PSYOP where we let you think you're in a PSYOP. PSYOPception. All we have to do is tell Il Duce to say tip top next to a white rabbit. Q-proof. Joining QAnon is...
It's truly first grade nonsense. Oh God, Trump just said this. This means this. No substantiation for it. Just believe us. This is what Q said. Q's working for us. We got to believe Q. Just turn off your critical thinking skills. Put it on the shelf. As a matter of fact, decimate it. You don't need critical thinking anymore. You're in the arms of Q.
Easy, because at its core, there are some truths.
And then people will go, but Brian, why is Facebook and Twitter and YouTube taking down the accounts of people on the... in the 17th letter of the alphabet crowd? I got to be careful how many times I say that letter. It's complete, guys, it is completely a psychological operation to get the people who are in that to think that that's even more legit. There's another sign for us, another sign from heaven that the 17th letter of the alphabet is legitimate, because all the social media hate it. It's like people are saying, well, the reason we know that Trump is on our side is because all of mainstream media, except for Fox News, hates him. There you go. Guys, that's not proof. If Trump does something, if Trump institutes bump stock bans, if Trump says, I like take the guns first, due process second, if he's for civil asset forfeiture, if he continues the long and costly and failed and devastating drug war, if he gives a 10% and then a 15% increase to the military industrial complex, to the prison industrial complex, he signs a $6.2 trillion banker bailout, and CNN is still against him, that doesn't make what he did right. It's utterly evil what he did. And CNN, the communist news network, is utterly evil. They're utterly corrupt. They're utterly compromised. They've been taken over by the CIA long ago, just like all the mainstream outlets have. What you should be, the plumb line by which you should be measuring Trump's success or failure should be in relation to independent liberties, individual liberties, period. That which is wrong versus that which is right, not who stands against him. You'll be steered wrong every single time. And the psychological operators and the social engineers know this. They know what people are going to go for because people are freaking gullible.
Like, the media really does lie to you. There really are powerful predators out there, and there really is a global pedophile ring that ritually abuses kids. But as you follow Q's droppings, you'll gradually LARP yourself deep into the rabbit's rectum, where you'll find others who yearn to...
this is hilarious, and they're using funny terminology, but it's absolutely freaking true, and it makes, like, when I first watched this, I laughed, but then it was an unsatisfactory laugh because it's true. It's just true.
Fight injustice just like you. The 5G crew, the Plandemic crowd, the FEMA camps, and chemtrail folks too.
And guess what? Guess what happens? When that crowd, the 17th letter of the alphabet crowd, is against all those things that it's legitimate to be against, now that makes it look like it's just completely mockable. And because they've shown themselves to be, first grade nincompoops, just believing everything that the teacher says in the classroom and then going out and parroting it on the playground, people look at that and go, okay, then we're done with everything that involves that, even though they actually addressed some legitimate things that need to be addressed and need to be taken care of, and those people need to be brought to justice. But this is the whole reason for this psychological operation, is mix all that truth into a freaking ugly, hilarious, nonsensical lie, so that once the lie is exposed, everybody goes, oh my gosh, none of that is true. It's masterful. They're 10 chess moves ahead of us.
All LARP together into a single LARP we can control. Where we LARP one, we LARP all. In exchange for all this
Where we go one, we go all.
entertainment and newfound sense of purpose, all we ask for in return is your help. No, you fucking idiots, not to arrest Hillary. You see, we have no intention of ceding power at this election. So if it looks like we're winning on election night, we'll declare victory, even though millions of votes...
Do you see this right here? We're counting on the federal court system to make it so we can have an evening where we know who wins.
They're still being counted.
Trump
And if we're
actually said
losing, we'll declare the election rigged. Either way, that's your cue to get in the streets and prevent further mail-in ballots from being counted. Just like what happened in Florida when rioters shut down the recount of the 2000 election. Among those rioters was this fuckwit, the same one who is now urging us to...
It's amazing how many people still come alongside of and support Roger Stone. Sometimes you just got to shake your head, and it's like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious to you. It's so obvious to me. But there are people out there who will actually lay their lives down for these people.
declare...
Listen to the rest of this. This is super deep. Whoever wrote the script for this Juice Media post, they know what's going on. They got their finger on the pulse of what's going on in this world.
Martial law should we lose the election. And among the lawyers who helped to stop the recount was the same one we're pushing hard to appoint to the Supreme Court right now. Coincidence? Follow the white fuckwit. All this should alarm patriots. Except Q has convinced patriots, even the guy who spent decades warning you about the police stated martial law. That martial law is now a good thing.
Yep, exactly, guys. And why is the very guy that spoke for years against martial law, and even today he's speaking against martial law, is actually tipping the hat to martial law because it's Trump who's doing it. That's why it's so dangerous for Trump to win again. It doesn't matter, first of all, from the banker standpoint, from the societal standpoint, from the economic standpoint, from the currency standpoint, they're going to get their reset no matter what puppet goes in. But they're going to have a better chance if Trump gets in, because everybody, the Democrats already hate Trump, okay? And the Republicans are following Trump like zombies, going, I don't care what he says. It doesn't matter what he says. He could literally do whatever he wants. And I know he's on our side. I know he's playing 5D, triple somersault, underwater, backgammon, blindfolded chess. And I just don't understand what he's doing right now, but I will. So I'm just going to sit here and trust the plan because Q told me to. There's no telling how many millions of people are still thinking that, guys. So it's even more dangerous for Trump to get back in there, because the people we need fighting on our side are the people that call themselves patriots that are at these stinking rallies right here. If tyranny's going to hit us, I don't want it to hit us from behind. I don't want to hit us from within. I want a frontal attack so that we know what we're dealing with and so that we can possibly get more people on our side. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking. Unbelievable that people will still just march right alongside with Alex Jones, who is completely compromised. We know that he's sold out to the Z's. We know that he's not going to say anything about something that I can't mention on this platform. But he's always talking against the police state. Now he's tipping his hat and winking the eye to the police state. And he's like, come on in. It's okay. Trump's playing. You don't understand Trump. He's playing 5D chess, brother. I'm telling you right now. Trump, you have to understand that you've got to trust the plan because he knows exactly what he's doing. And all we need to do is just hang on tight, hang on for the ride because Trump knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, it's BS. Yeah, Owen Schroyer, they're all compromised, every single one of them. And anybody who follows Donald Trump is literally begging for tyranny and begging for a police state. I know somebody right now who's against the police state, but they're for the police state now because Trump is for the police state. Trump is actually talking about bringing the armed forces, the militarized, not militarized police, but the actual military on American soil to distribute Bill Gates' final solution, VAXX. If that ain't deep, if that ain't deceived, I don't know what is. I don't know what is.
The only thing that can ruin our plan to repeat 2000 is if there's an overwhelming voter turnout against us, which is why we've been doing all we can to deregister millions of you, purge voter rolls, and close polling stations to make voting as hard as possible. What's that?
It almost sounds like Juice Media is tipping the hat to voting. You don't want to be involved in that process. I can't really think of anything more immoral. Forget about the V word. Forget about voting. Can you think of anything more immoral than begging somebody or casting your ballot or putting your ticket in the slave suggestion box, which is what voting is, and requesting that someone rise up among all of us and fabricate and make laws that the rest of us have to follow that I'll be perfectly fine with because it's going to be my ruler. But other people who didn't want that ruler, they're going to be forced to do things against their will and without their consent because you voted for somebody. I can't think of anything more antithetical to individual liberties and freedoms and life, liberty, and property and the pursuit of happiness than that. So when you want a third party, i.e. government, to come against you and violate you because you disobeyed their commands, is there really anything more? Isn't that the crux of immorality? Doing something to others that you wouldn't want done to you instead of just leaving people alone. And where's the opt-out button in all this anyway? How come you can't opt out? Well, that's not the way of government. Government doesn't allow you to opt out. If an entity allowed you to opt out, well, that wouldn't be government. Government is broken down, the word etymologically broken down into two Latin words, guverno and mentis. Guverno means to control or govern, and mentis means the mind, to control the mind. Government is all about controlling you. And the aspect of against your will and without your consent is always involved in government. Controlling you against your will and without your consent, that is exactly what government is. So Washington said, government is not eloquence, it's not reason, it's force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. They come against you by force. And it's the initiation of force. It's not because you did something wrong. It's just because you disobeyed the people called government. If you disobeyed your neighbor, does he have the right to punish you? If people disobey you and don't do what you say, do you have the right to punish them? What magic is this that allows a government agent to punish you because you didn't do what they said? You haven't committed a crime. You just didn't do what they said. What magic is that? If you did what government did, if you did what law enforcers did, you would rightly be seen as a criminal because you would actually be seen as a victim. Because what do? They kidnapped, they cage, they steal. I like that placard that Ron Paul had on his desk in Congress for years and years. It said, don't steal. The government hates competition. And that's what government is in the business of doing, is eliminating competition.
And do we take down the deep state? Aw, honey. The guy who exposed the real deep state is being tortured by it right now.
Yep, there you go. Why, if Trump is on your side, why is Julian Assange not free in America? given protections. Why is Bradley Manning still in jail? Why is Schaefer Cox still in jail? Why are all these political prisoners still sitting in a CMU, a communications management unit in Terre Haute, Indiana? Why is that? Because he's not on your side. If he was on your side, he would free Julian Assange. If he was on your side, he would actually be for a free press. He wouldn't be out there denying people their First Amendment rights because they were speaking against a certain Middle Eastern group that we shall not mention right here because the AD something will come against you. Man, I got to be careful.
Oh, and where are you? Oh, that's right. Q told you to trust the plan and have a big circle jerk on Aiken, the great awakening. And that's the purpose of QAnon, to convince those who would normally be on the front line of fighting our shitfuckery to sit by and watch as we prosecute your truth tellers, purge your justice system, and rat fuck this election.
Wow, that was quite a statement right there.
Circle jerk on Aiken, the great awakening. And that's the purpose of QAnon, to convince those who would normally be on the front line of fighting our shitfuckery to sit by and watch as we prosecute your truth tellers, purge your justice system, and rat fuck this election. QAnon, nothing can stop what's coming, because you'll be sitting on your ass when it does.
Dang, what a statement, man. That was freaking powerful. Here's the ending right here.
By the Department for executing the biggest intelligence drop in U.S. history.
It's called Honest Government Ads, talking about the 17th letter of the alphabet from Juice Media. Hey, if you enjoy this content and you want to be notified every time I upload a video, just hit the subscribe button and that bell notification icon. And if you want to support this channel, one of the best ways you can do that is by liking and sharing this video with everybody you know everywhere you can on social media. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my private free email list through my website, highimpactflix.com, and I have another website called highimpacttv.com where I'll be uploading censor-free, undiluted, unvarnished truth videos that are not messed with and tampered with by third-party tyrants and censorship lovers. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Guys, we already know that they want to decimate the dollar, destroy the economy, bring us into a cashless society, and eventually make it difficult for us to even get food. That's why I constantly promote My Patriot Supply. Every chance I get, I turn my fiat currency notes into long-term storable food. This stuff is awesome. It's got a 25-year shelf life. And one thing we're all going to need is storable food. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. With my link in the description, you get $100 off of every order instantly. It'd be a good idea to order it while you can, because I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to ship this out. My link for your $100 off discount is in the description below.